Hello everybody, welcome to Rewrite Your Reality with Reese. I am your host, and on today's video, circumstances are never dictating reality. You do. Now, circumstances and conditions, the reason they don't dictate your reality is because none of them actually have any power outside of your awareness of them. You see, why is it said like that? Why is it they don't have any power outside of your awareness of them? You see, you are power. And if you were to take a movie screen for a moment, that movie screen has power in the sense that it is light creating the effect of the movie, along with the sound and all of those things, right? But the effect is power manifested. It's light manifested. So your circumstances and conditions is your power as awareness manifested. But that power manifested doesn't again then manifest something else. It's you expressed in that moment. Your continuous awareness of it, in the sense that your continuous belief that this is my only reality, is where the idea of those circumstances and conditions continuously coming forth from is why you are experiencing them. See, they come from you as awareness itself, consciously choosing to focus on a version of reality that you decided to, or have decided that it is real. Because you don't really decide to focus on circumstances and conditions purposefully, but what you do consciously or unconsciously, consciously or unconsciously decide is whether or not they are true for you. That's where the decision comes in. Now, the past experiences of I am not, experiencing my desired experience, even to speak it as if it were true is not actually a truth. See, you are remembering it wrong in the sense that this past is one of many, one of infinite, in fact. Not linear, but superimposed onto itself. Again, movie analogy. If you were to take a whole bunch of discs, movies, whatever, and place them on top of each other, you would see all of them have their own past. Every script is written, every reality has been created, every version of you exists. Every movie in this pile has its own past, has its own future. Whether you go to the beginning of the movie or the end of the movie, there's still more movie no matter which direction you go in, because the script is written completely. None of them are objective in any kind of timeline. The only objective idea is that all of it exists simultaneously. And as what we consider time going on, what's happening is what we consider all existing right now is just expanding. That's what the illusion of time moving forward actually is. It's continuous expansion of what you are allowing yourself to be aware of that already existed and is now just placed in whatever way, shape, and form is most accurate to your assumptions of who you are. Most of the time, it's arbitrarily in your awareness, like different trees in different places. All of that is just source being whatever it's being, but you don't have to go and look for any of those things. So when I say, or you say, or we say, I never experienced something, whatever you are referring to, that past actually exists only in your awareness of yourself right now. See, you are calling forth frames of reality that now suit the perception of what you are considering. Where we often fail to understand is this idea of, let's say, I am living in another country, and you open your eyes and you see, well, that didn't work, I'm still here. We believe that the past is required to be expressed in a way that is logically sound. Where you physically see the evidence of living in said country, or in other words, your desired end experience. And that's just looking for evidence. Evidence of what? Evidence of your desired experience coming into reality, being experienced now physically, is still looking for something that you cannot find because you are searching with an identity that isn't the one you are choosing to be. Now, the past, because it is all superimposed onto itself, will never have to actually look like anything other than whatever it does so in the present moment, because you don't actually have one. Time, distance, reality, speed, all of these things aren't these elongated straight line journeys of scripts we associate 3D timelines with, where the past is fixed. It's again the superimposed moment. So even if your current physical moment is seeing that fixed appearance, the moment to moment changing is always into another fixed moment. Every moment of the 3D reality is fixed, but it's not fixed as in staying there. It's fixed as what it looks like. That is a fixed moment, gone. Fixed moment, gone. Fixed moment, gone. That's loud. And the change is dependent on who you now identify yourself with. The person as I am living abroad. That identity also does not have a linear past, but it has the appearance of knowing itself in that way that makes sense to who it is being in that moment, with the appearance of a linear past which is also changing in every single moment. That version of you, which is you, is not contemplating itself. And think about this. How often do you remember your entire life? Hardly ever. How often do you think about things that you never thought about in years? Because it is now relevant to what you are considering yourself to be. Things that haven't come up in however long they haven't come up now suddenly come to the surface fresh. So you are changing identities in every moment, shifting timelines in appearance, not actually because you don't actually go anywhere, inherently. For example, the movie analogy, the pile of movies. When you're changing the movie, when you're selecting another one on your computer, on your hard drive, wherever you keep movies, do the movies go anywhere when you aren't watching it? No. Even the one that you're watching didn't come from the folder onto the screen. It's just rearranging what the screen looks like. It's still there. It's exactly in the same place, but the arrangement of it is highlighting something else, expanding it. That's what a movie is, basically expanding whatever you are seeing each time. And then when it's done, it no longer expands it because there's nothing left to expand. It's showing you more potential. Like click on this, click on that, click on this, watch it again. Because nothing goes anywhere, nothing comes from anywhere. It's all just happening in awareness. Only your awareness is automatically creating another version of itself to be aware of. That makes time, sense, space to the current moment you are sitting in. It doesn't bring up the entire timeline, only the part that currently makes sense to you in this now moment, even if you do have a full timeline. As you automatically shift into I am versions of your consciously chosen state, you shift by calling forth appearances that now make more sense to you than another version of reality. But not making sense to the 3D version of it. The 3D version of you can't make sense of anything. The 3D you, the physically focused manifested reality experiencer of things, is really you, but you experience it through this physical apparatus, cannot understand that unfolding path to where you, as consciousness, have decided to now experience yourself as. You see, consciousness, you, that's you. It has no past, it has no future, it's eternal, it has always existed. Time doesn't tick for it. It created the idea of time to tick through to experience more of itself. It's blindly following in its own footsteps. It does not remember taking or making. But you remember where those footsteps ended up because you are the one that made them and you went there. You went to your end. You went to where your footsteps have gone already. I go to prepare a place for you and I shall return to take you to myself. John 14:3. When you are imagining, you do so as I am awareness and you go to your end, experiencing it. Then your awareness, you, shifts back into this present now moment. You don't really go anywhere. And you start walking in the assumption, receiving yourself to where you went. That's reality creation. That's going to end and staying there in the assumption, I am who I am. And I'm looking at the image. That's really what's going on. You are awareness. You are that blank slate beingness that has everything, connected to everything, one with everything, giving light to everything. It is everything. Everything is contained within it. And you can be aware of anything, and anything that you can be aware of, be aware of, has its own past, has its own future, and the moment you are expressing it, you are on that timeline with that past, with that future. Because you choose to be that. So you can either choose to focus on a version that you are experiencing right now with this moment's past and future expressed, or you can consciously choose to imagine what you desire to be in the being, doing, and having of it, and that is the version of you that you are right now, because you identify with being that version. I do have a picture of a band there because it's part of the video today, actually, because I know about a story that I recently heard about. I didn't know about it beforehand, but that's quite cool. This is a band called System of a Down. You might have heard of them, might not, but they were really big in about 2000 to 2010. It's probably still big as well. And the two frontmen are of Armenian descent, and they were accidentally, there's no such thing as an accident in source, everything is pre-existing, booked on the same day, at the same time, at the same studio with different bands. So the two frontmen of this one band that came into existence in awareness were part of two other bands, and they were booked at the same time in a studio. They ended up together, and they enjoyed talking to each other so much that they made a band of themselves, and it ended up being one of the biggest bands at the time, probably still currently. And a beautiful line I heard with the story was, sometimes the most beautiful stories can come from the biggest mistakes. Why? Because South doesn't make mistakes. They didn't fight it, they didn't want to. They enjoyed the other guy. And those 3D versions of themselves could have fought against conditions and circumstances, saying, no, reality should be this so I can be that star. It's our turn, the other people can go away. It's our turn, they can go away. But no, they just said, okay, well, this is happening, let's go with it. They just talked it out, laughed, said, hey, cool, this is great, and allowed what already existed in awareness to come forth as part of their reality experience, even if they left their bands to create their own one. Those other versions in their reality already existed, parting ways and going off into their own experiencing of reality, because someone consciously chose to shift from their point of view in reality. Their circumstances didn't matter because they weren't preventing them from being the stars. It was rearranging reality according to who they were being, not the past versions of themselves, members in those other bands, but them from each of their perspectives. No such thing as a mistake. Everything unfolds perfectly. The only mistake is you mistakenly perceiving something being greater than what it is, because what it is only an appearance of yourself that comes from yourself. So no matter what the appearance is, it means nothing. It does nothing. Circumstances don't matter, only a state of being matters, as Bashar likes to say. And so do I. It's quite nice to say that. Now, reality is able to do this, remembering that their pasts are now different, even if they have experienced that other version as a story, remembering when it wasn't. Because no past is linear. It's all just happening right now. You can be aware of different versions and different versions and different versions, because they're all infinite. Even the version of the past you are experiencing is not actually objective. It's a subjective recreation over and over and over. It's just all existing now. And you are remembering points of reality over and over and over again. It doesn't mean it was actually your past. It means you are referring to these images as if it were your past, but you are creating it right then and there. So having a different past now does not mean that you skip those events. as sometimes your intention is to actually experience that moment. Hey, I would have preferred if it went this way. And you imagine it in the intention of, I prefer experiencing it this way. I am source. I prefer my experiencing of what I consciously choose. And it rearranges itself for that. So even if you remember a past where you didn't, it exists now. And you remembered a past where it did, where it exists now. And you experienced it physically, having it now. As your now past, physically, as you are that identity. That experience, that reality as your past, having chosen to experience it fully, not just the preferred outcome of that, if the past went that way instead of this way, but to experience it fully. That's why you keep experiencing things over and over again, where you say, why does this keep happening? Because you keep identifying with the past where this identity experiences that kind of thing happening. So you keep experiencing that kind of thing, opposed to just being aware of another kind of thing that you prefer. Pruning the hedges or sharing it, as NevilleGoddard says, right? So the circumstances are never dictating reality and what it is. They can't. They are meaningless. And you are allowing it to exist consciously, because you couldn't unallow it to exist anyway, and calling forth consciously what you desire to come forth in every single moment, regardless of the moment. Because infinity doesn't just have a way to unfold it, it is infinity. It has an infinite number of ways. It will never matter, and it can always be anything. In every way. You cannot even consciously think about it, but it's not for you to consciously think about it. Why do you even think you consciously think about your desires? Because the awareness of it came to you. But from where? From you. You gave yourself the awareness of this experience, and you desire to experience I am. Only accept I am already everything I desire to be. My past, my present, and my now, all of it now, is my dream life experiencing, no matter what is going on. No matter what. I am the only creator in my reality. And I am reality, and I am who I say I am. I identify with this version of myself, no matter what thoughts I'm thinking, no matter what I'm feeling, no matter what circumstances are happening, no matter what conditions are happening, no matter what, because all of it's happening in my awareness, and in my awareness as awareness, I choose to light up this version of reality as mine. And I am that. And that's the only thing that matters. See, persistence is not effort, it's fun. I enjoy being this version. It is a fun thing to do. It is a fun thing to do, to be sitting here or walking around or lying in bed doing SATs or scripting it. It is a fun thing to do. It is a fun thing to do, to jump into my experiencing of reality, knowing that it is one with me and I am one with it, and it's the one that I choose, I prefer, and it's just thrilling. And I am that. I am your host, Reese. This is your reality with Reese. Thank you all for being here. Much love, much light. Thank you for the questions. Thank you for the emails. Thank you for liking, sharing, subscribing, joining. Thank you for joining the TikTok page. I do have a Facebook page as well. Two Facebook pages. One for the channel and one for the Facebook group that you can join. If you do want to do that, please give it a look-see. You can drop questions in there as well. Much love, much light, and I will see you all in the next one.